So the price of XRP is actually holding considerably stronger than a lot of the other cryptos. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what some of the altcoins have been doing today, even though Bitcoin dipped another 0.3%. It's really interesting because the total market cap of the altcoin and the crypto market has been going up a little bit. This still in the wake of the rest of the markets being completely red, albeit not nearly as much as yesterday. Also in this video, I'm going to tell you about what Ripple's General Counsel Stuart Alderoty has said about the Bill Hinman speech, because he was just published in Forbes magazine, and in it he gives his thoughts about that now infamous speech. And also, I wanted to bring to your attention a call that was made by another cryptocurrency analyst regarding Bitcoin's price, and in it he talks about Bitcoin potentially going down to 14,000. I'm going to tell you how he came to that number. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel we are covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind YouTube channel. Also, if you do three things, I greatly appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch this video all the way to the end, and of course check out my Patreon, link in the description below. Alright guys, let's jump into it. Okay, so first let's talk about some of what is going on in the markets today. It's pretty much red across the board again, but not nearly as bad as it was yesterday, and that was to be expected, although some thought it was going to be a green day yesterday because of the amount of drop, the percentage of drop that all the markets had yesterday. Bitcoin dropped to a new local low, that of about 20,800. And I'm going to tell you what happened to Michael Saylor's micro strategy, which holds 129,000 Bitcoin, that had a huge loan out that needed $410 million of collateral in order to stay in a $205 million loan in which he took out to buy Bitcoin. So I'll get to that in a second. But today I thought it was a really interesting day, coming on the tails of the video that I just made yesterday, talking about what potentially could be a perfect storm for Bitcoin. That being a lot of the markets essentially either getting liquidated or investors and institutions taking their money out of the markets and holding it in dollars because it's considered safe, or at least temporarily safe. Although I did see a comment in one of my, in the video from yesterday, who said it's actually on the law during times of certain volatility. Brokerages are actually forced to take out certain amounts of money and hold it in the US dollar. He said, this isn't optional, this is actually law. So something I'm going to look into, but let me know in the comment section down below if you've heard anything of the such. Okay, so let's get to it. The Dow Jones was basically flat, albeit it was in the red. The Nasdaq was down, but not significantly. The S&P was down, but not significantly. And then we get to the Bitcoin and crypto market, and this is where it gets really interesting. Bitcoin is down about 0.3% over the last 24 hours. It's still down from yesterday. But the rest of the cryptocurrency world, the total market cap of the cryptocurrency world, excluding Bitcoin, is actually up about 0.25%. Some of the altcoins have absolutely went parabolic yesterday. In fact, here's a handful of them. Interestingly, Xrp is up about 2.5%, even while Bitcoin is down about 0.3%. XRP up 2.5%. It's not a huge number, but considering the rest of the markets, that is a huge number. But listen to this. Helium, HNT, which is actually one that I mentioned on my channel back in the fall, that was up 18% in the last 24 hours. Litecoin is up 10% in the last 24 hours. Chainlink is up 9%. Solana was up 4%, although I did just see right before I hit the record button, Solana gave some of that back. It's still up about 1.5%, but still up nonetheless. And of course, Stellar Lumens XLM is up about 2.5% as of recording. And the one thing I also wanted to point out about the markets is the Nasdaq just hit its lowest level since November 4th, 2020. That was actually 2 days before the general election here in the United States. That's coming up on 2 years. It is hitting a 2-year low, and as of right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be getting any higher. Some more talk of what the Fed's going to be doing with interest rates could send these things either way. As we know, NASDAQ is very tech stock heavy, and those can be extremely volatile, much like some of the ones that we're following here in the cryptocurrency world. Okay, so who's buying the dip this time? I haven't heard yet from the president of El Salvador, who typically does buy the dip. Have heard nothing from him of the such. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, he has not tweeted out that he's been buying the dip at all. In fact, he is owed he took out a $205 million loan, and he needed $410 million of collateral in order to sustain that loan. Well, if Bitcoin got down to below 21,000, he was going to be margin called, meaning he would have to come up with more collateral in order to keep that loan or be forced to repay it. Now, obviously, MicroStrategy owns almost 130,000 Bitcoins. They could easily pay off that loan, pay off that collateral, although he would have to sell off close to 20,000 Bitcoin, and if he was forced to do that into already a bear market, that's kind of scary as to what could happen if that was the case. But nonetheless, Michael Saylor did tweet out, he said, "Have no fear." He said, "If needed, we will come up with the collateral with the $410 million of collateral in order to sustain that loan. If the price of Bitcoin actually closes below 21,000, which it did dip below 21,000, right now it is up above it." And in fact, he said if Bitcoin would travel all the way down to $3,500 and MicroStrategy would essentially be wiped out of all their Bitcoin holdings, he said MicroStrategy could still come up with the money as additional collateral in order to sustain that loan and keep a hold of their Bitcoin. So it's a very interesting story to watch. But like I said earlier, XRP has been doing extremely well compared to the most of the crypto world. In fact, today it was one of the top 5 gainers. So if you are trading it, you probably weren't shorting it nearly as much as people were Bitcoin and especially some of the altcoins. And like I said, some of these altcoins are starting to rip upwards at any given moment, sometimes for any reason. So if you are shorting some of these altcoins, well, buyer beware. All right, so now let's get into what Stuart Alderati, who is Ripple's general counsel, what he is saying about the Bill Hinman speech back in 2018. Stuart Alderati, he actually penned an article and it was published by Forbes. Now, Forbes, in the past 3 or 4 months, I remember making several videos about Forbes contributors writing articles specifically mentioning the Ripple versus the SEC case. By and large, they are on Ripple's side. Well, Stuart Alderati, of course, is on Ripple's side, and specifically he was talking about the Bill Hinman speech that was supposed to give regulatory clarity and some guidelines for what the rest of the market, or how the rest of the market should view things such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, versus others that they consider to be securities. Well, Stuart Alderati said that if you look at the speech as a whole, it clearly shows that XRP is not a security. Obviously, if you follow this channel and you follow most of the news in the crypto world, you already know this. However, he did write a full article about his opinion on how he thinks the speech actually completely muddied the waters, and it did. And my opinion is that not only did it muddy the waters intentionally, it was done so for the profit of those at the SEC, for their legal firms that they were actually essentially working for previously and now, as well as those own venture capital firms, and basically anybody that could benefit that was involved in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. But that's just my opinion. So I'm going to link the article in the description down below. It's at the Forbes website. This was again by Stuart Alderati, Ripple's general counsel. And in fact, he did tweet out something regarding this article. He says, 4 years since the infamous Hinman speech, and we're nowhere closer to knowing how to classify digital assets in the US. Keeping every crypto, including Ethereum, in regulatory limbo. Interesting, because Gary Gensler, Jay Clayton, anybody in the SEC, since that speech, still hasn't officially said Ethereum is not a security, especially Gary Gensler, who's left it up in the air several times. I penned some thoughts on Fortune on why enough is enough, and he tweeted at the SEC.gov. So again, I'll put that in the description below. You can read the article. Basically, if you are an XRP holder, if you've been following this case, it's not necessarily new information, but from Ripple's general counsel, you can see the side of things that Ripple is coming towards, and what they're trying to do is essentially put the SEC on blast once again for why they're attempting to back up that speech as some sort of guidance and or personal opinion, whatever it is that they feel necessary to attempt to get the upper hand in the case versus Ripple. So nonetheless, go read the article. It's very interesting. All right, and finally, I did want to wrap up this video by talking about Bitcoin to 14,000. How so? Okay, so I was watching a crypto analyst. There are several that I watch on a daily basis, one of which has been extremely accurate the last, I'll say 3 or 4 weeks. Literally every move to the downside that Bitcoin has been making, he has been making spot on. He did say, according to his technical analysis, there is a chance that Bitcoin could fall to 14,000 very soon. And he did this by simply doing some basic charting and showing how some of the measured moves based on some of the drawdowns and some of the bear flags that it's been producing over the past couple of days, that measured moves point to a $14,000 Bitcoin. And he said technically you might even see a $9,000 Bitcoin, albeit a very temporary wick down and back up. But nonetheless, he said that could be possible. In fact, he said the 14 isn't out of the question. Now, of course, he doesn't do any predictions. He's simply saying, listen, the charts say this could happen. It could also go to the upside and hit 25K in a matter of a day or two as well. So nonetheless, I wanted to take a look at that because from what I've been seeing on Twitter, there is a ton of buy orders out there, especially by bigger institutions for Bitcoin at the lower levels. A lot of people feel 20 to 21,000. This is that local bottom. This is the capitulation. If you watched my video yesterday, you see how I feel that this could be essentially the time frame of the greatest opportunity that Bitcoin has seen in a long time. It's right up against the 200-week moving average, which any of the previous 3 times it has hit, it has absolutely skyrocketed off of. It's now bouncing on that trend line. And of course, now you have institutions and buyers exiting the markets en masse, holding their money in US dollars or other currencies, which of course is highly liquid, ready to go into a crypto market, potentially. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, let me know on Twitter. I'll put a link to my Twitter profile in the description below. You can follow me there. So once again, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.